guys, we are back out in the garage with the Mazda again. I am not going to say we're starting it today because last time I said that, it didn't work out. So we've got the spark plugs back in, we've got the drain plug put back in on the gas tank, and we're ready to put some fuel in. So what I've got here is 5 gallons of fresh regular fuel, and we've got about 6 ounces of 2-cycle oil. And on a Rotary, it's a good thing to pre-mix, even if you're still running your oil metering pump, just in case that fails or isn't flowing as good as it should, and you just mix it straight in your tank. It's a little bit of a pain at the gas pump, but for that little bit of extra insurance, it doesn't, it's not too big of a deal. So I like to kind of go on the heavy side. I do about 1 ounce of oil per gallon of gasoline. You could do some research online. People are, more or less than that. So I don't know, a little bit's got to help. So we'll go ahead and put about half the fuel in the tank, pour our 2-cycle oil, and then put the rest of the fuel in, just so we can kind of get that mixed up as we're dumping it in. Let's see, and one thing I did want to do, since we completely drained the tank, I wanted to actuate the fuel pump. So since these are a return system, I'm hopefully going to be pumping all of that fresh fuel into the fuel rail, and any old fuel that's in the rail or in the fuel line back to the tank. So hopefully when we hit the key, it's not trying to fight with the old nasty fuel that still might be in the fuel line or the fuel rail. So on the 13B cars, you've got right next to the air intake, right after the air box here, you've got this open-ended plug that has a rubber boot on it, and that is what you're going to want to basically jump these 2 contacts together, or the 2 terminals, and that will make the fuel pump run. You will need the key. You will need the key in the run position, so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. All right, and since I do not have a jumper wire, just real quick on hand, just 2 screwdrivers, 2 small screwdrivers. If you touch the 2 blades together and then touch it to the terminals, that will also work. All right, so like I said, both the screwdrivers cross together. We've got the key on, and we are going to jump that, and you guys probably can't hear it, but fuel pump is running. You can hear fuel flowing. We're going to let it run for a while just in case there's air in it and it needs to kind of prime itself. And we did just get a little change in that fuel pump sound. So I don't know if it had a little bit of air, obviously, since we drained it. And it sounds pretty consistent now. So we are probably as good as we're going to get. So last time I had pushed the car outside because I didn't want to smoke up the garage, but I'm not feeling as confident this time as I was last time. So I think I'm just going to open the garage door and hit the key. If it does start, I should be able to just throw it in gear real quick and pull it out into the driveway so I don't just completely paint this garage with Rotary smoke. So guess we'll see what happens. Guys, we made a Mazda start. We are heading out of the garage because it is quickly filling with smoke. We have a running Mazda. And we are smoking. So basically what we had to do, I was hitting the key. I could tell it was flooding. There is a terminal on one of the ignition coils that you can pull off, and that kills power to the fuel pump. So once it would flood, pull the power to the fuel pump, crank it, it would fire up for a little bit. Once it would, you know, run and burn that fuel, and then stall, plug the fuel pump back in, it would flood again, and just continually going back and forth until you finally got it to run long enough to keep going. So let's take a look inside and see what our gauges are doing. Let's see, we have oil pressure right at 60, which is great. Alternator is charging. We've got RPM. Coolant obviously is cold. We just fired it up. You guys don't know how much of a relief that is having this thing run. I guess I'm not sure if it was low on compression. I think they still run, they just run really poorly. So I guess it could still be a little low on compression. Once we drive it, we'll obviously know how it feels and kind of go from there. But goodness gracious, we at least got the thing started. That is the biggest hurdle of a RX7 that has sat for an infinite amount of time. So we got past the first hurdle. So found out an interesting little thing now that we've got it to start. It was stored in an enclosed storage unit, and apparently I had some little critters storing their winter food in the exhaust, because once I got it to start, I have literally covered the driveway and the garage with sunflower seeds. Let me show you here. This is the garage, and let me take you out to the driveway where it is a massacre of sunflower seeds. Probably kind of hard to tell, but literally all of these little black specks are sunflower seeds out of the exhaust. So some mouse or critter had all of this stored in there ready for winter, and we just blew it all out of the exhaust. So that's not ideal. I guess when you store your car, whether it be in your home garage or a storage unit or anywhere, if it's going to be stored for any amount of time, probably should throw some steel wool or plug your exhaust. I wish I would have thought of that. It would have prevented anything from getting up into the exhaust and possibly causing future issues. But hopefully we've got it all blown out and we'll not have any issues because of that. But plug your exhaust if you're going to store your car for any amount of time. All right, so we're going to take a quick, short little test drive to make sure everything's happy. And we've got Lexi here riding along because I don't want to have to walk home alone, so she can at least walk with me when this thing leaves me stranded on the first corner. So let's at least go out and make a lap around the block and see how it's running. So this car was originally a power steering car, and kind of a common-ish form mod to not to just to do a power steering delete, but these leak really bad. The pumps leak, the lines leak, you know, so, and they really do not drive bad with the power steering deleted. So that's what I did on this car years ago when I originally got it running, and since they're so light, you really don't have any issues with it. So but clutch seems to feel good, brakes seem to feel good. We've still got good oil pressure. We've got some coolant temp. So we've got some backfires on the exhaust because this is a catless FB. These have 3 cats, and you know, are old 80s cats. So the kind of common thing is to replace that mid pipe. It has a pre-silencer on it, and you know, have a little happier, freer flowing exhaust. And that's what I did on this again years ago. Let's see, so we're getting ready to pull onto a main road here, so we are going to be able to rip it a little bit harder. And again, I don't know what one would feel like with low compression, but this feels as strong as it has previously. So I knock on wood or old plastic, but I don't think we've got issues. Let's see, and we'll see if we can get the first-gen RX7 little rev buzzer. These things are so smooth and quiet that you have a rev buzzer at 7,000. And you know, that was to let you know that you were at red line, because the motors were so smooth and quiet that you wouldn't know otherwise. So yeah, like I said, it feels as strong as it had previously. So hopefully we've still got a happy motor. I'm already pulling back into the house because, you know, we've got old oil in this thing still. We need to do an oil change. We probably need to get it up on the lift and triple check everything, make sure we don't have any, you know, brake hoses leaking or calipers leaking or something, you know, bad that should not have us sending it down the highway at 60 miles an hour. So we'll just do this short test drive today, and now that we've got it running, we can at least get a little bit of maintenance done and get it completely happy for driving. So didn't have to walk home, and we got an RX7 running. So that's an awesome day. So hopefully you guys will like this, and hopefully stay tuned for another video on this car, up on the lift, oil change, and kind of giving it an inspection. And I can show you guys how ridiculously clean this car is with rust, at least. A lot of these first gens are rusting away and big holes and everything like that. So this one is exceptionally clean. So yeah, awesome day. We got a car running. So hopefully you guys will like the channel, and stay tuned for the next video on this old thing, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.